Hello everyone and welcome back to Scandinavian Design 101. I'm Sanna.
I'm Andreas and we're two Swedes and we love design. And as you all know by now, we're most often talking about design history, showing you wonderful pieces of design produced over the years. But today we're going to do something different. We're going to show you some pieces designed by some of the best Danish designers, but never reached production. Using Photoshop, we have tried to bring some old sketches to life. Some of these objects were probably just not good enough, but some other of them should really have been put into production. It's important to note that this is our interpretations of what they might have looked like if ever had been produced. So let's get to it.
Yeah. First out is two different lamps designed by the Danish master of lighting Poul Henningsen in the late 30s. Let's do it chronologically, with the earliest of the two a predecessor to the artichoke. But let's start from the very beginning with the spectacular looking glass lamp Septima, which was developed by Henningsen between 1927 and 31. The first prototype was exhibited in the fall of 1928. It was based on Henningsen's 3-shade lamp system with 4 extra shades inserted between 3 basic ones. Already in the late 20s, Henningsen was thinking of designing a metal version of the Septima. He made some drawings, but it wasn't developed further. And we decided to bring these sketches to life, creating a digital version of the copper Septima lamp. Have a look. In 1957, when Henningsen was commissioned to design lamps for the new Langelinje Pavilion in Copenhagen, he came to think of the old sketches for the metal Septima. Some new sketches and prototypes were made, and soon the legendary artichoke, or kuglen, was born. The metal Septima was obviously a clever idea. It wasn't as fragile as the glass version, and it would have looked amazing, as you just saw. Luckily, it was brought to life 2 decades later, when the artichoke was born.
Yes. And now the second lamp by Poul Henningsen. Actually, it's a sketch made by Henningsen in 1925, soon after returning to Denmark after visiting the Paris World's Fair. He was at the time working on lamps for the Forum exhibition hall in Copenhagen. And one of them was a quite remarkable lamp with 4 shades constructed from gold-plated glass. It turned out to be way too expensive and not least complicated to produce such a lamp, and the idea was abandoned. But soon the iconic 3-shade lamp was invented and the glass prototype was forgotten. Sadly, because it is a really good-looking lamp. Yeah.
The next design we're going to show you is a funky-looking chair made as a small clay prototype by Arne Jacobsen in the mid-50s. It was one of many organically shaped prototypes created by Jacobsen while developing furniture for the SAS Royal Hotel. This is probably an early prototype of the iconic egg chair. The circular foot looks a bit strange, and it was probably never intended to actually look like this in real life. Bending a piece of metal wire in a loop was obviously the easiest way of giving the small scale model a foot. So maybe that's just it.
Yeah.
Here we have given it the traditional Arne Jacobsen aluminum foot, and suddenly it's a swivel chair.
Yeah.
Can't really say if it's good looking or not, but it's definitely innovative and completely different from most other Danish chairs at the time. But the egg chair is obviously a much more successful design, and it's no surprise this prototype wasn't put into production.
No. And now we will take a look at the lamp designed by the Danish architect Hans Wegner early in his career. He's not really famous for lamps.
Not at all.
No, but guess this sketch was made in the late 30s or early 40s. And at the time, the young Wegner participated in a long range of different design competitions, and this lamp was made for one of these. On the sketch is just named the Jubilee lamp, and it doesn't say which Jubilee, but yeah, some
Jubilee.
Yeah. And what can we say about this little lamp then? Well, it's quite typical of its time. The shape of the lampshade was created to emit as much light as possible, but the lamp was would probably have been blinding. And the thin stripe of a relief pattern is a trace of more traditional lamps often seen in the 1930s. And it would probably have been better off without this decoration, I think. But still, it's a great looking lamp, not least since it's made by a designer with little experience in lighting.
Yeah. When talking about Wegner, we must also show you this sketch he made of a molded plywood chair. Wegner made the drawings in 1948 for the International Competition for Low-Cost Furniture Design, arranged by the Museum of Modern Art in New York. At the time, molded plywood was a quite new material in the furniture industry. During the Second World War, Charles and Ray Eames developed a range of plywood furniture, and this inspired designers all around the world to start using this innovative material. Wegner designed a number of different plywood chairs, but the collaboration with the cabinet maker Johannes Hansen soon made him focus on solid wood. The sketches made for the 1948 competition is indeed interesting, but frankly, the chairs look way too weak.
Yeah.
The armrests would almost certainly break when leaned on, so it's probably for the best that it was never produced.
Yes, I think so. Finally, we're going to show you two chairs by Finn Juhl, designed in the later part of his career. In the 60s, the high-quality wooden furniture designed by Juhl in the latest 2 decades just wouldn't sell anymore. Displeased, he sent a letter to the cabinet maker Nils Vodder asking him why he didn't sell more furniture.
Yeah. Is that really his
Yeah, I think Juhl thought
area?
It was his... The answer he got from Vodder is definitely a rough insight in the life of a furniture architect. Vodder wrote, "I think we have worked together 30 years. The earnings were scant for my part, and I assume that you didn't profit much either. But we stuck to our task and lived life in the process. If you think, as I do, that I have your best models, I can understand why you might think they would command the highest fee. To my mind, that would be misguided. Georg Jensen Incorporated New York was a disappointment. Baker, who attempted the Easy Chair 45, didn't make much from it either, and they gave up on the 46. I think I was late in understanding the merciless force of fashion. I will now incur further losses. For last year I built up an excessive stockpile in order to keep the production going. At present I have suspended production of all your models except the dining table." Somewhat desperate, Juhl made several drawings in the late 60s, but only a few of them were ever put into production. A chair designed during this time was this minimalistic easy chair with steel legs. It was an attempt to create a chair made from modern materials, adapted for industrial mass production. Juhl made some drawings and a small clay model, but the chair wasn't put into production and no full-scale model was ever made. And it's nice, but it's not spectacular. It can't be compared with the early things Juhl did, sadly.
And the last chair we're going to show you is this molded plywood chair designed by Juhl in 1969. It was obviously highly inspired by Charles and Ray Eames and is in no way innovative, rather nostalgic and almost reactionary. The chair remained a sketch and it seems like not even a prototype was made. And I just don't like the look of it really. The legs are unpractical and the construction looks complicated and overworked compared with the original Eames chairs. We love Finn Juhl, but this is just not a good looking chair. But he was desperate, so that's probably the reason.
Yeah, probably. And sadly, Finn Juhl never really adapted for this mass production, not like Arne Jacobsen, for example. No. And this was some pieces of design never produced.
Yeah.
What did you think about them? Let us know in the comments below if
Yes.
you like some of them or if you didn't like them at all.
Please tell us.
And check out our previous videos too. We have a lot of videos about design.
Yes, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.